A few minutes ago, he was driving his bike on the hills. Seemed like a normal day, until he saw a truck in front of him with a vending machine. He saw the straps holding the vending machine tearing down, and thought that for some reason he needs to save the vending machine. As a result, he went flying down the hill while hugging the vending machine. He wakes up and sees a lake in front of him. He thinks he's lucky to survive and tries to get up, but his body doesn't move. But all he says are pre-recorded vending machine messages. He gets more confused, but he looks down and sees his reflection. He was turned into a vending machine. He thinks this is pretty much a joke. But after looking at his reflection again, he starts to praise his new image. Not only that, but he also even praises his own prices, until he realizes that being reborn as a vending machine is the worst possible thing. He tests all his recorded messages, realizing he cannot speak to anyone. He closes his eyes and concentrates, until he sees a message appearing in his head. He's currently selling only cold mineral water and warm corn soup. He then heard a voice, telling that he could sell more stuff if she spent points. Those points are converted from money, and he can use them to stock up, get new products and get new functions. He decides to check his other functions and possible items that he could sell. He goes through the list of items, and decides to spend 10 points to get cold milk tea. Suddenly, one row of water bottles magically transforms into milk tea. He researches even more and finds out that he can sell them for 100 yen, which will be converted to 1 point. He then suddenly sees some movement in the water. He happily thinks it's a client, but turns out it's a frog. This frog was as big as a human, wearing armor and holding a club. He thought the frog was his first customer, so he played his pre-recorded voice. The frog panicked and backed down, just to smack him with its club. He took 3 damage, and his durability was reduced by the same amount. The frog continued to strike, damaging him. The system tells that he can restore his durability by spending points. The frog decided to call 3 more frogs with bats and axes instead. His durability was decreasing even faster now. He tried to check the system to find any solution until he saw the skill blessing. His durability is almost reaching a critical value. When he sees the barrier skill, he immediately picks it, and finds out that it will create an invisible barrier to protect him. He activates the skill, and the barrier knocks the frogs away. After a full day, they finally give up and walk away. He spends points to recover his durability, but that cost him over 600 points. And if he doesn't sell anything in 10 days, he will die. Several days have passed, and he already accepted his fate. He wished he could at least have sold something before dying. Suddenly he hears a hunter girl shouting. She's in a fighting posture but doesn't attack him. Suddenly, she notices Boxxo. She's confused and thinks that he's a monument. She's impressed to see drinks being displayed. Boxxo then uses his recorded message to welcome her and tells her to insert coins. She inserts a Cooper coin, but it's returned. She thinks that it's not enough. But the system tells Boxxo that he needs the coin conversion function to accept the coin. He buys the function for 100 points, and the prices get adapted to this world's currency. But a water bottle is 1 silver coin. The girl thinks it's expensive, but she's hungry. She inserts the silver coin and picks the corn soup. She picks up the soup bottle and gets happy because it's warm. She opens it up and starts drinking, and finds it tastier than most of the stuff she's been eating. Boxxo finally feels happy in this world. He feels pleased that someone was satisfied with his products. But the girl wants to try more stuff, especially milk tea. She bought more soup, water, and milk tea. She ate everything and fell asleep beside Boxxo. He decided to activate his barrier to protect her. After all, she is the only customer. She wakes up the next day, happy that she could eat and rest. So she thanks Boxxo, who replies with his thank you message. She thinks he can speak, but he doesn't reply. She mentioned her friend who researched magical items that contained sealed voices, speculating whether he was the same. She asked him to say something if he understood. In response, he uttered hello, which made her happy and led her to believe that it meant yes. She got happy and decided to show Boxxo to his friend. She immediately picked him up and started to walk away. He couldn't understand how she could carry him but thanked her in his heart. While traveling, he found out that Lamies can easily carry him away because her blessing gives her insane strength. She decided to have a quick stop and eat some soup. But he felt bad for her because it wasn't so filling. So he used his points to exchange for some chips. She couldn't stop eating and bought 32 cans of chips. Lamies continued carrying him until they reached the nearby village. The village guards were happy to see her safe, because her hunting group got back to the village very injured. But they're curious about the metal box she was carrying. She explained she found it by the lakeside and decided to take it with her. They had never seen a vending machine before. She gets worried that she shouldn't have bought Boxxo. Boxxo is confused as hell. They talk about levels and wonder if he's inside a labyrinth. The guards ask if they can buy something, and Boxxo replies with yes. They get startled to hear a machine talking. The guards insert their coins and buy corn soup and milk tea. They love it, and end up buying everything. They ask her to bring Boxxo in the future because they cannot leave their place while guarding. Lamies agrees and proceeds to the village. But she notices something strange in an alleyway. There's a bunch of creeps making a little girl cry. She moves toward them and kicks one into Narnia, while carrying Boxxo, and then confronts the remaining two. They end being scared cats and run away. Lamies checks on the girl and goes back to her place. Her friend immediately jumps on her and hugs her. She was so worried about her. She notices Boxxo and asks what it is. Lamies explains everything and places Boxxo outside so that people can buy stuff. Boxxo then finds out that he's inside of a dungeon, and that Lamies needs to pay for a teleport circle to go back to the surface. But she cannot use it, because she used her money on him. Boxxo quickly became famous and people were buying stuff left and right. He managed to get over 3,000 points, but people were already tired of his items, so he decided to add items to his menu. The guards immediately bought it and found it delicious. More and more people started to buy them, but Boxxo didn't want to ruin the local inn restaurant, so he turns food unavailable during the day, and only sells it at night. Lamies is still helping him make his sales by carrying around, and hopes that one day, he will be able to talk to her without pre-recorded messages. One day a bear-like human comes to Boxxo and introduces himself as a chief of Hunters Society. He asks our duo to join him on attacking the frog's lair. Lamies and Boxxo accepted the offer. Few days later they went on a hunt. While resting, one of the hunters comes to Boxxo and decides to buy some food and gets shocked when tasting the food, saying it's very tasty. He wonders how does Boxxo gets the food and calls a woman who knows magic and asks her to check Boxxo. But she says she doesn't feel any magic. Later a lot of people buying food and Boxxo decides to add ramen to the menu, which everyone liked immediately. We meet Shui, who is a bodyguard of Boxxo. The next day the group comes the lair of frogs and starts fighting them. Lamies gets attacked by the frog, but she easily kills her and tells that thanks to Boxxo her accuracy has increased.
What?
Later our group gets surrounded. One frog attacks Shui and Lamies, but Boxxo uses his shield to defend them. Boxxo uses 1,000 points to increase his vision. Lamies gets distracted once again and Boxxo has to use his ability to save her again. The captain gets suspicious about Boxxo and his power. Later all the frogs were defeated, but the captain wants to earn money and offers to fight more frogs. Filmina tells him that their main goal is to defend Boxxo and Lamies, and if Lamies will agree then they will go. Lamies decides to agree and they fight more frogs. Unfortunately, there are a lot of injured and Boxxo decides to share some sports water with them. Later, from the conversation between Bear and the captain, we learned that there might be a frog king nearby. At night one idiot decides to hack Boxxo. But Boxxo sets him a trap which angers the idiot. He tries to attack Boxxo but Lamies stops him just in time. Suddenly a frog king appears and everyone starts to run. Lamies uses her power to drag the carriage. Boxxo gets a brilliant idea. He drops the Coca-Cola and uses his skill to drop Mentos as well. Now the hardest part is how to tell Lamies to mix them. Suddenly, the idiot guy wakes up and the guards put Mentos and cola into his mouth and are shocked to see the reaction. Lamies finally understand what Boxxo wanted to say and using cola with Mentos on the Frog King's eyes, and the group finishes him off. And that's the end of the video. Don't forget to give me a like and subscribe to my channel. I will bring more excitement anime in the future. Thanks for watching, bye.